defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know I did not have a show last week. I'm sorry. I've been so dang busy farming and just haven't had time to come to the microphone, trying to work out a show. It's been crazy. So I'm very sorry, but I'm here right now. And actually on today's episode, I just want to focus on the economy. We have 2-year treasury notes climbing to the highest we've seen since 2008. So we're going to get to all that. And ladies and gentlemen, and actually as I'm recording this, it is May 1st, which is May Day, which I think is like Communist Day. So you have, looking at Drudge Report here, all I see is this article, Paris burning, we got anarchists smashing windows, yada, yada, yada. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff going down in this world. Tom Brokaw, now he's in the hashtag Me Too thing. No, he's not the guy that was being touched. He was the one apparently, approaching women, wanting something more. Which, all this is coming out. How is anyone really surprised that this stuff is all going on behind the scenes? And so, yeah, we got Tom Brokaw, actually Tom Brokaw, he's got a farm. He has some land in Big Timber, Montana, which is like 40 minutes from where I live here. So Tom Brokaw is fairly close. No, I've never met him. But anyway, guys, let's just jump right in here. And actually, no, wait, before I start in here, if you guys don't have plans made for the summer yet, you're like, man, where am I going to go on vacation? What should I do? If you have some spare funds, there are 2 things I want to recommend to you and 2 things that I am doing this summer and later in the fall here. Okay, number 1, Freedom Fest. Freedom Fest is the 2nd week in July. Crap, I don't have it pulled up. If you just type in Freedom Fest, don't hate me if I'm wrong. I want to say it's like the 11th, July 11th through the 14th. I think is Freedom Fest. It's always like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, just type in Freedom Fest in Google or whatever web searcher you use, DuckDuckGo, whatever. There's so many great speakers out there every single year. I think Judge Napolitano's coming back. It's always a blast. There's always so much to learn, and so many people that you've read their books. Big time people in the libertarian movement are there. It really is a fantastic time, and it takes place in Las Vegas. Yes, it's going to be hot. And if you donate to my show, I send you my bonus episodes, and one of them I tell you how to save a lot of money when you go to Vegas. In terms of booking a hotel and just how you can save a lot of money doing that. Because right now, Freedom Fest is taking place at the Paris Hotel, which is basically right by Planet Hollywood and the Flamingo. I have recommendations in that bonus episode where you can get way, way cheaper rates than the ones that are quoted there. But it's all up to you. I mean, it is always nice just to, stay in the place where the convention's taking place. Say if you want to take a nap, like, okay, there's nothing else I really want to see for this next hour or 2. Maybe I should take a nap. Whatever it is. It just depends on once the agenda is complete for Freedom Fest, you can decide, okay, wait, is this right for me? And yeah, I'm telling you, my recommendations that I give in my bonus episode, I will save you hundreds of dollars on that hotel room. Or, if you have a buddy that's going with you, you split the room, that's a good way to save money too. But if you take my recommendations and you split the room with somebody, you're really going to save a lot of money. It's like you're pretty much staying in Vegas for almost free. So yeah, I'll be around there. Come say hi. And also, my second recommendation, if you couldn't make Freedom Fest in July, and it costs a little bit more money, but I'm telling you, it's worth every dime. It is amazing. And it is the Contra Cruise. The Contra Cruise this year I think it's October 21st through the 28th. It's a week-long cruise. We poured out like in San Diego, and it's with the Holland Cruise Line. So I've never been on Holland Cruise Line before. The last 2 years we've been on Royal Caribbean, which Royal Caribbean is amazing. So I'm sure it's going to be another awesome time. Special guests coming back. Obviously Tom Woods, Bob Murphy. It really is a blast. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm telling you, just hanging out with other libertarians on the high seas. And it really is an experience of a lifetime. It's just, we've really kind of become a family. I go back, you see these guys, oh, hey, what's up? It really is. It's just incredible. And like, what's the value of building relationships like that? I mean, you can look at anything in life in terms of, I'm paying this price and this price, but what you get out of it can be so much more than what you've actually paid. Back when I was a super, like a cheap ass, nickel and diamond everything years ago, just looked at everything in terms of dollars. Okay, no, not going to do that. But then it's just, no, there's just certain things that you just do. It's like, nope, it's worth it. Got to do it. And that's exactly how I feel about the Contra Cruise. I'm going to try to do it every year I possibly can. And actually, when they first announced the cruise, when we were still on the Contra Cruise this last year, they were thinking that it was going to be right around July, like basically it'd be like a few days after Freedom Fest. And I had made my mind up in my head. I'm like, well, I'm going to go on the Contra Cruise over Freedom Fest. I was already kind of making that judgment in my head. Or if they were so close together, it's like, I'm not going to take like 2.5 weeks off straight. Like usually when I do my little vacations, I like a week off here, a week off there, doing 2-3 weeks. No, that's not my style. So anyway, guys, that's enough about that. Oh, let me close that. No, I don't want to update you, iTunes. Okay. So getting to economic news. So here we have how I just started the show here. 2-year treasury notes. They have climbed to a 10-year high. The highest rates we've seen for 2-year treasury notes since 2008. What happened in 2008? Well, it was the housing crisis, the housing bust. Okay, so we have 2-year notes. They've climbed to basically 2.5%, so 2.5%. And we got the 10-year treasury note, which recently it surpassed over 3%. Right now it's hovering around like 2.96%. And as these rates are climbing, some people out there are worried, because a lot of people, and I guess let me reverse back just a bit here. As the short-term rates rise, and when they surpass the long-term rates, that's when you see an inverted yield curve. Now, the inverted yield curve, that is a very strong predictor of a recession. Basically the last 5 recessions have been predicted by the inverted yield curve. So a lot of investors look for that. So right now you're seeing a narrowing of the yield curve where it's just about to invert. It's right there. And so like basically one of these guys here, heck, let me scroll down here. Where the hell did that go? So here, I just have just a paragraph here from Bloomberg where they're talking to Solomon. He's like one of the head guys over at Goldman Sachs. And here it is. Quote, we're down the road in the cycle, so there's certainly places where people are further along the greed spectrum than the fear spectrum, Solomon said Monday in an interview on Bloomberg television. Quote, in an environment where money has been so inexpensive for such a long period of time, there's no question that people have been reaching for yield, end quote. Okay, so what he's saying right there, and we're seeing this, a lot of people have been investing money in more dangerous, more risky investments. And what would you consider a risky investment? Well, junk bonds. Junk bonds, people have just been throwing so much money over there because, interest rates have been near zero for about 10 years. People are, like this guy said, they've been reaching for yield. Well, if you've invested in junk bonds, you could be getting wiped out here as interest rates keep ticking up. It doesn't take that much for those guys to get wiped out. Toys R Us declared bankruptcy recently. We have other stuff going on, other companies, like it's looking very risky out there. And so this is, again, getting to the idea, it's, the Austrian business cycle where we've had all this funny money in the economy, the Federal Reserve creating this easy money, printing these trillions of dollars in money. And no, it's not physically printed money. I know on my iTunes, this was like, a year or two ago, some guy gave me like a 1 out of 5 star review for my show. I can't even remember what the hell he said. Something about, they don't actually print money, or he's saying something about inflation. It's like, if I could just respond back to that guy, it's like, you're such an idiot. Like, what? Really? And it's so amazing to me with people in general. Like, you want to get engaged in a discussion with somebody. They want to nitpick you for one little thing you said, but it's like, wait, do you understand the context of what I'm saying here? Like, like say if you just mispronounced a word wrong, which people get down your pants with that too. It's like, I don't know. There's just some things, I guess I've just seen things in general with people. They're always quick to point out flaws in someone else and, but they don't want to look at themselves or, obviously none of us are perfect. We all screw up. We all make bad calls, whatever it is. We make bad judgment calls, bad decisions, So it's just amazing to me, or like how some people, it's a never ending process. But the people, if you're one of those people, you sit back there, you want to criticize what everyone else is doing, but you're not going out of your way. You're not going outside your comfort zone to go try to make things happen in your life. That's what a loser does. A loser is always quick to point out someone else with them just being content with, with them just doing what they're doing, Now, please don't get me wrong as I'm saying this. Some of us, we want to, live a different lifestyle than others or whatever. The hard thing to do is to do something outside your comfort zone. The people that are close to you, they want to criticize what you're doing. Like, no, you don't want to do that. That's, if it's something that people that have never done before, they're always quick to point out, like, no, that's a bad idea. I can't tell you how many of these stories I've heard of these entrepreneurs, these people who have made millions and millions and billions of dollars. The things that they were doing in the beginning was seen as a stupid idea. Because if it was already seemed like a really smart idea, then someone probably would have figured it out by then. But it's these entrepreneurs out there that go out and they pursue things thinking like, that wouldn't work. But these people, they have such a vision in their head, like, no, I'm going to make this work. That is what the winners out there do. They don't stop. So, I don't know. I guess I kind of got on a little rant there. But it's just something I've just seen that's consistent with life in general. I guess you can let them pull you down, or you just keep persevering. I think when I was reading the book, The Compound Effect, man, I'm going to butcher this example. Something about, was it like the crawdads or the crabs? You have them in a cage, and they're as the ones trying to climb out of the cage. They just put a new one in. He's trying to climb out. He wants to be free. The other crabs are pulling him down. Because like, no, you can't do that. You can't go and try to succeed. Get away from us. No, join the crowd. So the other crabs are pulling the other ones down. Well, eventually what happens is the ones that were originally in the tank that were pulling the other ones down, they pull those ones out. So now it's just the ones who got in there who were originally trying to escape. And now once they put the new crabs in, those ones that were originally trying to escape are now pulling those other ones down. It's the same. It's just an interesting sort of psychological principle with people following the herd, people just, the sameness idea. Did you guys ever see you guys got to see this if you haven't. It's like I don't know if you consider it a documentary, but it's called The Push. Look it up on Netflix. This thing is amazing. It's like an hour and a half long, whatever it is. Basically what happens is it's a psychological experiment. They're like, okay, if we go to test someone, using what we understand about psychology and people, can we make someone willingly push someone off the edge of a building? Someone they have no idea who they are. And it's like some person you consider like a normal type of person, like someone who's not like a, serial killer, crazy person, just like a normal person. Well, at the conclusion of this episode, you find out, no, I'm not going to ruin it for you. But they tested it out with a few people. And one of the experiments in the very beginning, this is so damn funny. You see this? This is at the very beginning. Okay, so it's the exact same idea with the crabs, where we have, I know, it's like 3 people that were in this room. It's like this line of like 8 chairs. And they're writing on this, they're taking a test. And every time this bell rings, the people stand up. When the bell rings again, they all sit down. Now, the 3 people that are in there taking the test that are standing up and sitting down, according to the sound of the bell, they're all actors. They're all in on it. They were told to do this. So now they get some person who's not an actor, comes in to start doing the test. Okay, the bell rings. He watches the actors rise up to the bell. And then they sit down again with the bell. This guy has no idea that they're actors. Well, magically, nobody told him to do this. Once the bell's going, this person who's off the street starts standing up and sitting down according to the sound of the bell. And here's how it gets even crazier. So now they bring in more people who are off the street, like 1, 2, 3 more people. And so eventually what they do, all these people who are off the street end up doing exactly all the same thing. As you hit the bell, they stand up, you hit the bell again, they stand down. Now they take the 3 actors or 2 actors out of the room. So now it's just the people who are off the street who are not actors. Every time they hit the bell, these people are standing up and sitting down as they're taking this test or filling out this form, whatever it is. So, I mean, it is just amazing how so many people, they want to conform. And that's why, libertarianism, we people out there, we've had to live lives where we're not conforming. We're, odd ducks. We do our own thing. We go to a beat of a different drum. We don't want to just copy what other people say. We think for ourselves. And that's so rare in today's society. So anyway, guys, I guess I really went off on a tangent there. But here we have a yield curve that is so close to inverting right now. Now, once the yield curve does invert, that does signal a recession. Now, there's always a lag between when the yield curve inverts to, when the economy is actually in recession. It's like 12 to 18 months, something like that. So there's some investors out there that are fearing that, because right now, how the average person is thinking out there, the average investor, they're thinking, okay, yeah, the Fed's going to keep raising interest rates. And what we just had that came out, recent news here, is that the new inflation data, the core inflation data, is basically right at the Fed's target of 1.9%. The Fed target's at 2%, so it's right there. So it's ticked up, and a lot of investors now, they're like, oh man, this is for sure, we're for sure going to see 4 rate hikes this year in 2018. Now, one of my last episodes here, I talked about I only see the Fed raising interest rates twice in 2018. And I said mostly that's because of politics. I think Donald Trump is going to pressure Jerome Powell and saying, hey, like he doesn't want him to raise interest rates prior to the midterm elections. And there is a lot of politics that does play into what the Fed does. Now, let's say the next data that comes out with inflation, if it goes over the 2% target, I might be wrong, because I did say that the next time the Fed will raise interest rates would probably be December of 2018. I don't think that they would raise interest rates in June because of the pressure that Trump is going to imply on Jerome Powell. Because, you got midterm elections in November, you raise interest rates in June, end of June, but I guess if inflation data does go over 2%, I guess I could see that where, Trump doesn't necessarily pressure Powell because it's like, okay, hey, we want to make it look like we are in control of this inflation, even though, as Donald Trump has said before he became president, he's a low interest rate guy, which interest rates at 1.5 to 1.75% right now, that's still historically low. And actually, just another little interesting data for you guys. And it's a show. And remember, guys, these last several episodes, I keep talking about how as the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates and ticking them up 1/4 point at a time, that is the pin getting closer and closer to popping the bubble. And if you actually go back in time to 2004, the Federal Reserve was doing the same thing. In 2004, the Federal Reserve started raising interest rates is like at 1%. They slowly, from what happened in 2007. That's when we got the housing bust. We saw the banking system collapsing down. People were thinking this was the end. And it was bad. And did we structurally solve the problems from 2008? No. Now what are we doing? Especially starting in, I guess under Yellen in 2017, she's been raising interest rates. So let's go back in time. This is 2004. The Federal Reserve's getting serious about raising interest rates. Oh, we got to get ahead of inflation. But the Federal Reserve, this is what they don't get. They will never be ahead of inflation. They're always behind the ball. And all they're doing right now is they're going to cause the bubble to pop. But that is the correct thing to do. We already have a massive misallocation of resources in our economy. We've got to let resources go to their most productive uses. And that's not where they've been. And actually, I was just thinking about this today. It's like how many of, say the microbreweries out there, how much of that is a result of, say, these low interest rate policies? I mean, it is kind of like a sort of fad, a phenomenon, especially with millennials. We're all about microbreweries. It's crazy. Everybody, oh yeah, yep, oh yeah, you got to try this one and this one. And actually, someone who's related to me, I guess it'd be like, it's my dad's cousin. So I guess it's my dad's cousin. So what is it, like my second uncle? I don't know what the heck you call that. Basically, it's my second cousin's uncle. He has a very successful microbrewery right in here in Billings, Montana. I mean, one of his drinks called Street Fight, he's on tap everywhere around here. And now he's selling stuff in cans. He's making a lot of money doing this. So how much of the phenomenon with microbreweries, how much is this a result of the low interest rate, easy money policies? How many of these microbreweries will bust once this bubble pops? And actually just getting back to this idea of the rate hikes, and when I was looking at some survey results, you have basically 86% of experts see a rate hike in June. And so for me, when I originally said on my podcast, this was probably like a month ago now, I don't think the Fed will raise rates in June, but we'll wait till December, till after the election. So I guess if I am right on that, I'm definitely, and most certainly a minority there. But I think most people they're really thinking that inflation is just going to take off at this point. I still don't see that as the case. I definitely think 86%, that is a very high number, a very high probability what people are placing on these rate hikes that I don't see as that certain at this point in time. And keep in mind with the Fed chairman Powell, he knows this too. He knows the yield curve is flattened, and that as he raises interest rates more and more, he's going to cause, and he can cause that yield curve to invert. And so, but I guess the idea on the flip side is, well, we got to stay ahead of inflation. But how many guys at the Fed really give a crap about rising inflation? I've done how many podcasts talking about these guys in the Fed where they're not too concerned about inflation. Like, no, we have it under control. Inflation's been weak for so many damn years. They've been trying to get above this 2% level forever. Now it's finally like they're finally right there at 1.9%. And so, folks, once this yield curve inverts, now I can't tell you if it's going to be, with next month or two, or next year. It's hard to say, but the yield curve has flattened. It really is. It's the closest it's been in basically 10 years from inverting. Yes, the yield curve did invert back in 2007. So here we are again at the precipice. And really, guys, that is the pin about to prick the bubble. And so you need to protect yourself. I mean, do I think that, oh my gosh, like it's going to be the end times? No. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Yes. People who have prepared themselves, this is when, and actually if you go back and you do research on this, look at all the big time major companies of today. Almost every one of these big Fortune 500 companies, they were created during depressions. They were created back in 1929, 2008. I think 2008 is when Uber was created. It's if people who can take advantage of the opportunities that are presented once the economy comes collapsing down, you guys can do big things in this world. A lot of you are big time dreamers, which being a dreamer is good. You have a vision. Go pursue that dream. Go pursue that vision. And especially if you've been preparing for this, you're going to do big things. If you can get through the tough times, you can make it through any times. Anyway, guys, I'm just going to leave it there for today. So please, as I recommended earlier on in the episode, you got some spare time during the summertime, during the fall, go to Freedom Fest. Go on the Contra cruise. Oh man, cruise ships are so amazing. You won't believe what's on them. If you've never been on a cruise, you are missing out. It is so fascinating what they can do on these ships, and they still float. It's just insane. So if you guys can Join Tom Wood's Liberty Classroom. Click on my little link. If you join through there, you want to become a smarter libertarian, or if you're conservative or liberal, you want to understand the history you didn't get taught when you were in high school or college, or the economics that you wish you would have learned. You can do that through Tom Wood's Liberty Classroom. Join through my link, and you're on your way to doing just that. Or you can donate to my show. If you donate over $50, I send you my bonus episodes. I teach you how to save a lot of money when you go to Vegas, when you go to Freedom Fest this July. Please do that. And I also teach you how to play blackjack. And basically, I can make you one of the best blackjack players around. Because most people they think they know how to play blackjack, but they don't. Okay, here's a quiz question. This is an easy one. Okay, you have a total of 11, and the dealer is showing a 4. What do you do? No, you don't just hit. No, you double down. Okay, so if you did get that right, well, good for you. Then maybe you are pretty good. But anyway, guys, I look forward to seeing you at Freedom Fest. I will talk with all you guys next week, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore, signing off.